Welcome to the Rohr International orientation for our report and event calendar developed for our friends at My Trading Buddy. And there's no place better to start than at the beginning. Page 1 has a lot of information that's very useful for understanding what's coming next throughout the rest of the calendar, and we're going to enlarge that for your ease of review. And the first thing we will note is that the entire top masthead, from the logo all the way over even to the blank area on the right, is linked to the main page of Rohr-Blog. That's rohr-blog.com if you want to see more of our information and analysis. But in the calendar itself, we have chosen the very important threshold of the week of June 1st through 5th. And the calendar, as you can see, is heavily color-coded. And just to run through that briefly, we have the green central bank rate decision related information, key releases or events, the important non-bold information. The most important reports are in bold, but others that we think should still be watched have a yellow background. We have the purple behind speeches or testimony. Debt auctions or events are in gray, and any ad hoc holidays or events are in light blue. Now, getting right to the first instance of the color coding, it's up here in the central bank block at the beginning. The current rates for each of the major central banks is displayed, and the ones that have a meeting coming up that week are highlighted in green. Now, if there's going to be any anticipated change to the rate, then this right arrow will be displayed next to the current rate with the estimate of what the rate is going to become during the week. And that's the first of our estimates right up here at the top. Now, two other things to note is that the italicized items you see are imported from non-core calendars, and that's one of the other key advantages here. We have never found a single calendar that covers everything we want to see from all the categories noted at the top in the color coding, and we go through a series of calendars every weekend to prepare our clients. And last but not least, the whole purpose of this exercise, chance favors the prepared mind. Thank you, Dr. Pasteur. They say the market's a creature of expectations. Great traders and investors make sure they know what to expect to see how the actual influences come in and how the market reacts. Now, if we look over at the top of each page or at any break where you change days, you have the day designation, and you're going to have country listings below that. And beyond that, you get to see what particular report or event is occurring, the estimate for market data, the previous where we have market data, and the times, both in Greenwich Mean Time and the appropriate Eastern U.S. time, depending on where we are in the daylight savings or standard time cycle. So if we zoom back out a bit to take more of a look at how the calendar works in practice, you can see we have the bold designations, such as Australia year-on-year inflation. That's the most important, but the month-on-month figure is also kind of important, and that's an example of something highlighted in yellow. And going down through the calendar, we can see where we have the very important first of the month manufacturing PMIs. U.S. personal income and spending are bold, and here's our first instance of speeches from financial luminaries, two from the Fed. And if we go down a bit further, we can see the first debt designation of the week, and that was the ECB announcement each Monday of how many assets it's purchased under its quantitative easing program. The first actual debt auction of the week was the 2.4 trillion yen 10-year JGB auction on Tuesday morning. First central bank action of the week was Tuesday morning's Reserve Bank of Australia rate decision and statement. And we can see some of our first important releases or events going further down Tuesday into Wednesday and on through to Wednesday, early morning U.S. into basically midday in Europe, and we have the European Central Bank rate decision in bright green. That's actually decisions because there are several rates and they could move any one of them during this period. And as far as key releases or events, we have the ECB's President Draghi post-rate decision press conference, always a key to the markets. We've seen some very radical reaction to that, but before we even saw that this particular week, we had the OECD Economic Outlook. This is a once every 6-month update that is also very important. And after it, in the early afternoon in the U.S., we saw the Federal Reserve Beige Book, along with a couple of more speeches. And moving down to Thursday, we have the first indication of a public holiday in the light blue, and that's Corpus Christi, which is a continental European bank holiday, along with the Bank of England rate decision and its asset purchase target. So you can see how the flow during the week, as you look at this calendar, allows you to understand the nature of the data impacting the market. A lot of stuff in bold is actual economic data. The color-coded indications can be much more so important reports and events, and of various types, and you can see how easy it is to understand the nature of the impacts throughout the week. We hope you found that helpful, and we look forward to you taking advantage of the Rohr International weekly report and event calendar. Bye for now.